I had mentioned today in class that we were going to try a flipping the classroom lesson tonight, and I want to thank everyone for making arrangements to be able to see this at home. The great thing about this type of learning is that you can stop the video or play it several times so that you know what to do tomorrow when we begin building our clay dragons. You may recall when we have been studying about Eastern and Western dragons and their differences. The good thing is that when we build them, they both start off the same way. First, you must have the correct supplies, which include a popsicle stick, tongue depressor, plastic fork, clay knife, scribe or large paper clip, bowl of water, rolling pin, clay slats, wire clay cutter, small balloons, a 10-inch circular cardboard template, and a mat. Many of you would refer to this as a hunk of clay flattened, but when you get to class tomorrow, I want you to cut 1.5 inch thick slab of clay from the clay block that will be on your table. Next, place the clay on a mat that I will provide, and at the same time, place the slats on either side, leaving space between the clay and the sticks. Then roll the clay with a rolling pin by pressing down so that the eventual width will be the same height as the slats, as you can see here. Your goal is to make a hunk of clay thinner so that when you finish rolling it, the clay will be about 1/2 inch thick. Next, place the round template on the clay and carefully cut away any extra clay. When you finish this step, you should have almost a perfect round circle of clay to work with. We're now going to start working with the clay. The first step is to cut 5 1-inch wide wedges around the clay and then remove them. This will allow you to pull the sides together more efficiently. Then we're going to take the balloons that have already been blown up to a particular size and place them in the center of the clay circle and begin covering the outside of the balloon with the clay. An important step in this process is to score the side edges with some texture and wet the clay with water to attach the pieces together. Next, take a tongue depressor and blend the attached clay in together like you see in the picture. Continue this process around the outside, pulling inward the pieces of clay. For a short period of time, I want you to remove the balloon and work with the inside of the clay. You should add a small amount of water and smooth out the edges in the inside. This may seem like a strange step, but I don't want any of your dragons to blow up in the kiln. You need to have the inside texture be very smooth. Here's another picture of smooth out the inside using the tongue depressor that you will have as part of your equipment. Next, place the balloon back into the clay and continue to smooth out all of the edges as pictured. Where needed, I want you to take some of the spare clay that you cut off earlier that is the same thickness and begin to close up the large opening into a much smaller opening. You must keep adding clay to seal up the opening. Again, notice how the top is slowly being filled entirely in. Finally, we have reached the point where we will be finished tomorrow in class. Notice how the entire surface of the balloon is now covered with clay, and if you look carefully, just a tiny opening is left for firing purposes. If there's not a tiny hole, your dragon will explode. Please watch this a couple of times, and I will be working with each of you during class tomorrow, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.